up. Quick shout out to our sponsors, the Sewell Law Firm with Michael Sewell, Rebecca Meyer with Insight Title, the wonderful, the one and only Lawrence Hopkins with Longhorn Investments, and Graphic Connections. Thank you guys for the support, helping this podcast get off the ground and onto the airwaves of YouTube and Stitcher and what's the Apple one? I don't have Apple.
iTunes.
Thank you. Yeah, iTunes. That's a pretty big one, right? Speaking of which, Nate's on the line. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. This is the Rei Rockstar podcast where we're going to be talking about filling up your gas tank, looking at houses, and making money. Does this sound good?
Heck yeah.
All right, let's do it. You sound really excited, brother.
Yeah.
Let's get you a couple drinks in you so we can loosen you up a little bit.
Yeah. No, I only have one gear. I got one gear. This is
Slow?
It. Yeah. Yeah. This is me excited and this is me sad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a buddy years ago. I'm still buddies with him. He's a really good friend. He was in a rock band with me, and he was the frontman. He was a singer, and he had two modes, on and off. And when he was on, he was bouncing off the walls. And when it was time for bed, he would just like immediately like fall asleep, just like lay down and go to sleep. And then in the morning, he'd wake up and he'd just be on. It was just he was just. It's like coffee. He had coffee for blood or something. It was insane. Yeah. So I know the people that have two modes, on and off, and this is your mode. That's totally cool, man. I'm not trying to make you feel bad about it at all.
No, my kids tell me that all the time. You know, come on,
get excited. Yeah. What happens if your team wins a Super Bowl? You like that?
Yeah. I mean, we win a Super Bowl down here, so I like it. I get excited, but this is it.
This is. You're my kind of guy, Nate. I like that. We sit down and drink some beers and eat some pizza and have a good time. So
yeah.
All right, cool, man. You got into real estate for the freedom. Talk to me about it. We're big on freedom. Our motto is it's not about the money, it's about the freedom. So talk to me what you define freedom as.
Yeah. So I was working a 9-to-5 job not too long ago, still am, and I got a whopping 0.4% raise. And I thought, this is craziness. I'm driving an hour to work. I've got little kids. I had 2 at the time, but now I'm up to 4. And my kids started to notice that I wasn't around as much. And so my daughter offered to give me up her piggy bank because I told her I needed money, and that's why I work. And so she said, okay, here's my piggy bank. And then since that crushed my soul, I was like, all right, I got to figure something out here. This is just not working. So that's when I really started looking at, okay, what do I need to do to replace my income? And that led me to podcasts, which led me to real estate investing.
So you're in Denver, which is kind of a tough market, right?
Yeah.
So you came
really
up
tough.
with kind of a unique solution. You started going out into other markets, building teams. Walk us through that and why you decided to do that and how that's kind of working.
Yeah. So, as I listened to podcasts, everyone kept saying, you can't invest out of state. You can't do it. Look within 2 hours of yourself. And I'm like, if I look within 2 hours of myself, these markets are still 2 of the hottest markets in the country. So it seemed like it just was not possible. So I found a couple people in some forums that were doing out-of-state investing. So I reached out to them, and they basically were saying, they buy turnkey through trusted turnkey providers. So I decided, I'll give that a shot and kind of see where that gets me. So that's when I ended up buying my first property in Indiana, and I held that property for about a year.
And so now you've kind of like made that your niche. You do long distance flips and you wholesale turnkey properties, and that's kind of what you do now, because in your own backyard the deal's just it's just a very challenging market to try to do that in your own backyard.
Yep. So as I bought my first 2 properties, as most people, right, we're trying to maximize the money that we have, and I felt like my deals weren't maximized with the first 2 that I purchased. I needed extra money, so I kind of fell into selling properties long distance, and it worked well. And I was like, you know what, I've got this team in place, and I kind of just worked with the people that I was had met by purchasing these properties and said, all right, who's the contractor, who's the property manager, and some of that stuff has changed, but where it led me is, most people are willing to work with you if you have ideas. Just because I reached out to a turnkey provider, they weren't like, you know what, we're only going to sell you turnkey. They offered to sell me wholesale properties. The contractor, I typically work with him one-on-one, but he's willing to go out and check on stuff for me. I just text him. So I've built good relationships with these people. So I basically text property managers, my sellers, my contractors, and continually just ask them questions, find properties, sell the properties, and it's actually worked out well to kind of build that cash reserve. So
it's interesting that you started out just wanting to buy those, and then you just kind of morphed into, hey, this is pretty cool. I think I can do this on a little bit bigger scale. And at the same time as you're doing all this stuff, you kind of had like a light bulb moment over top of your head, like an aha moment, which is kind of the reason why you're on the podcast here today, because as you're doing research, and I think that's what's so cool about today's investment opportunity or climate. Excuse me. There is so much information everywhere, as far as what I mean. Gosh, 30 years ago, I don't, before the internet, I don't know how you could get the answers to the questions that you have. I mean, you can get the answer in a snap of a finger now, right? So as you're doing your research and as you're going through and as you're going into other markets and as you're building teams and as you're, buying those properties and then saying, hey, I think I can wholesale some of these things, as you're going through that, you ran across some of the bigger people in this country that are doing incredible business, and they go in they fill up their gas tank in their car, they get in their car, they drive around town with a notepad and look and scout for properties, which is a tried and true method. It totally works, but you're sitting there scratching your head going, what?
Yeah.
There's got to be a better way.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so before I bought my first property, I did about 9 to 12 months of reading and podcasts. And so after I was through about 60 podcasts, the one thing kept coming up. These highly successful investors kept saying, yeah, I'm driving around every once a week or once a month. I take my pad of paper out and I drive around and I write down addresses. And I'm like, this is crazy. We've basically mapped out everything. Everything's digital. And so I was like, boom, let's just give this thing a shot. Let's try to make something to make this easier, and see where we can take it. So that's kind of evolved into the app DriveBuy REI, which
now. And by the way, I mean, there's one of the things that's great about being in a capitalist society is there is competition, right? In my business, your business, every business has competition. And I've kind of checked you out on prices, and what's interesting I noticed about you is you've really tried to look at that competition and say, I'm going to be very, very, very competitive on my prices, because and well, walk me through the methodology on that. Why did you want to be really, really competitive on your pricing?
Yeah. Sorry, I got my little ones banging the door with a crutch. So yeah, so
did you beat them and they got a broken leg? That's why.
No, my wife got hurt this week. So so I had to go get my old crutches so she could get around the house. But yeah, so anyway, so I'm looking. So as I'm listening to these podcasts, everyone's like, all right, what advice do you have for newbies? And then almost the number one advice was get in your car, drive around. And so one of the most cost-effective ways for new people to get started is get in your car and just go drive around and find addresses and then do the research yourself. So knowing that so many people are trying to get started, we thought we want to make a software solution that every investor should have. And there's so many newbies, and we thought let's make it as easy as possible for anybody to get started. Like and your motto, it's not the money. Everybody is looking for a better way, more freedom, and so we wanted to make it available to everybody, to where people didn't feel like it was a burden to have our software, and that it was just a tool in their pocket to use when they need it. So, we really focus on pricing, so new investors could get in. For $50, you can pay for 1 month, get 50 leads, send tons of direct mail, and boom, hopefully you can get a deal off of that. So.
And that's interesting because when I look at the type of people that come to the Southside Investment Club, and they come to our meetings, and they come to our bus tours, and they come to our 3-day events, I would say we have a pretty good portion of people that are just starting out. They're in that information gathering stage. They've been listening to the podcasts, they've been listening to radio programs, they've been reading books, they've been going to workshops and seminars. They're just, hey, I think this is a good time. I think I'm interested. I think I'd be good at it. I want to do this to supplement my income and to maybe, in a year or 2 or 3, maybe replace my income. They're in that mindset. And then, if they start seeing tools that are too costly for them to even get started, then, if they know that tool's out there, but they could just take a pad of paper and go out and do it themselves, they're like, oh, I could do this and this. And, just starting out, you could spend a ton of money on CRMs, on websites, on all this kind of stuff. The barrier of entry is pretty inexpensive for your platform. And I think, it's absolutely a good way. But getting back to what I was going to say is, I like working with newer folks. I like people that are in that information gathering stage because they're a sponge. If you talk to them and you tell them the right things, they're going to absorb that and go out and do it. So I relate to that a lot, in the sense where that's kind of where your target is the newer investor that wants to get in and to get started doing something. That's awesome that you've kind of chosen to go that route. And it's not just new people that use your platform either. I mean, you got users that are doing incredible business as well. But I think that's admirable that was like the approach that you had, that you want to be very competitive for that newer investor that is trying to get the ball rolling. Because newer folks, especially in today's world, even though all the information can be at their fingertips, it's still really challenging to break in and do your first couple deals in today's climate, because it's very competitive out there.
Yeah, well, and it's scary, right? You don't know what to do. It's big dollars. Absolutely. And one thing with our platform that we thought is, if we make it inexpensive enough, then you don't even need to know what to do. Just find some leads, and like when you meet up at events like yours, talk to the experienced investors and say, hey, I got this list of 50 to 100 leads. If we find something, or if I give them to you and you find something, is it cool if I get a commission? It's just there's so many ways to work with the software, to work with like really seasoned investors, to find those deals and get started and find a way to learn. And most people say, get out there and do something and show that you're willing to work, and this just makes it easy. It's a pain to go write down addresses and look up information, but now it's more of like, it's kind of gamified. It's fun. You go out there, you punch a bunch of addresses, you're good to go. So it should make it really easy for anybody to get out there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, I've taken a look at your excuse me, platform, and I know you got some really exciting things coming up this month. Talk us through some of the cool things. Well, I guess walk us through what DriveBuy REI is, and just a quick 1, 2, 3 on what why I need that on my phone, so when I'm driving around, and how to use it. Just pretty quickly, and then talk to me about the stuff that's coming up that you're really excited about to announce.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we are a software platform that essentially automates driving for dollars. So with the click of a button, you can capture a property. You can track where you've been, so you know every street you've been down. And we like to say it's the easiest way to capture, research, and market and manage your leads. We got a free CRM that anybody can use, so you can upload any lead you want. And we don't really have any minimums. So it's really easy. It's just, basically you push a button, captures the property, you go to our online portal, and that's where all your data is, and you basically market and manage your leads from there. So it's basically like a womb to tomb, from lead capture to market system that's just a couple clicks. So it's pretty sweet.
Try to make it real simple and economical for folks
Yep.
That are out there driving for dollars. In the nutshell, is what you're doing.
Yep, that's exactly right.
What are you
So
coming
some
out
of the
with this
cool,
month?
yeah. So one thing that we're really pushing hard on is we got a skip tracing service that's coming out. Um, we're really pushing hard to get it out here in February, and this is a skip tracing service where the hit rates are going to be way up there. We have no minimums, so if you want to skip trace 4 people, you can skip trace 4 people, and you're going to get their email, their phone number, potentially their known relatives. It's going to be a very comprehensive skip tracing service that we're excited.
When you say hit rates, you're talking accuracy on phone numbers, right?
Yeah, so basically hit rate and accuracy. So hit rate is what data is returned. Accuracy is, is it legitimate? Our hit rates will be way up there because you may get a brother's phone number or someone's mom's phone number. Likely you're going to get something from our service, and that's where, there's other services. You may get 1 or 2 phone numbers or an email address, but a lot of times, the hit rate is low, but the accuracy rate is also low. So by at least giving you some information, we feel like that'll give you enough information to continue. So it's not a dead lead. So that's where we're super excited to get this out. We've been pushing hard for several months to get this thing ready. So that'll be awesome. And then hopefully in this first quarter, we're still pushing hard for what we call bird dog capability. It's multi-user capability, so you can add team members, whether it's a partner or if you want to hire somebody. And the cool thing with our system is you'll have the ability as a business owner to track where your bird dogs have gone. So if you hire a college kid or just somebody looking for extra money, you have the track record on an actual map that highlights where they've been. So it gives you peace of mind. So when someone says, "Oh yeah, here's some addresses," you can go verify them on the map, see exactly where they've been, when they were there, so you know how long they were driving. So it's gonna be really powerful.
Awesome, man. That's really cool because I know that will really that'll increase the functionality of moving from being so targeted, or not so targeted, but being targeted for the newer investor to having some pretty powerful tools at their disposal once they've done that. That's going to be a huge, amazing thing. I'm excited for that for sure.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we're pumped. Yeah, we've got a lot of users right now that are asking for that, so we'll be excited to get that out.
Cool. So we're going to post links in the description down below of how you can take advantage of this and get the app. How much is the app?
So we have plans starting at $10.
Okay.
That's what we would consider our starter plan. We go up to a $40 plan, and that gets you about 400 leads a month. And we also do customized plans. So if there's something that doesn't fit your business model, we have other ways to make it happen. So big users, we customize, the large users all the time. But if you're just getting started, we've got 3 plans that should help you. Subscribers also get a 20% discount on all our marketing stuff. So you'll see that come through as well.
Awesome. Very, very cool. So, and you can get another 10% off if you click our link.
That's correct. Click the link.
Yeah, click the link. And I don't know what you were talking to me about this, and it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, the more mail that your users use through the app, the more your prices go down and the more you can keep your prices more competitive for them, so you can kind of pass the savings on. So right now you're kind of pushing for people when you are driving around your mail system that can do that. And you got $10 off that you're trying to push that for $10. If you spend $100 on direct mail, you $10 off, so you can get your mail increased so that you can actually get better pricing for everyone involved.
That's right. Yeah, we really look to partner with everyone out there. I mean, I'm an investor myself, so we really are trying to partner with the investors, and that's kind of how we view our business. Is that we want to be every investor's partner in this, and so if we can get our costs down, then we're gonna lower our prices. That's what we want to do. So we want to make sure that everyone can use this. and that it's effective, and that everyone can be as successful as possible. Because I mean, freedom, in your daily life is something to shoot for, and we want that to be a possibility for everybody.
I like to say that I'm temporarily motivated to be permanently lazy.
Yeah, yeah, I like that.
So if they want to get the 10% off, all they got to do is when they sign up for the app, they're going to get an email and just reply to that. That'll go straight to you, and you'll apply that on there. So that's awesome.
Yep. Just shoot me a note once you get it. Just say you're part of this podcast or you heard us on this podcast, and I'll set your account up once you sign up.
Awesome, cool, man. Well, hey, listen, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna do a wall of shame item here, but I would like to have you back on a podcast because your enthusiastic, excitable self is just pumping through the airwaves here. And I want to have you back. No, I want to have you back in a couple months after those things have rolled out, and
Okay.
we'll check some notes here because I've been using the app, and I'm really excited for those upgrades there, and I'm going to be taking full advantage of that. So let's compare some notes and just kind of check back in a couple months, see what's going on.
Yeah,
But I do have
great.
a wall of shame item, and I actually have two wall of shame items here. And wall of shame item is just a piece of like a small that we'll get out of a house that we buy, and we've got a bunch of trinkets all over the office here, and I got a bunch at home too. I'm gonna have to bring some in. My wife doesn't normally like me to bring them home, but some of the stuff is actually kind of cool, so I do. So my wall of shame item from here today is this guy, and I've got a matching set here. Well, not really a matching set, but here's another one. They're exactly the same thing, except for this one. This one right here has 3 dials. It's a thermometer, barometer, and it can register the humidity. And this one just has a thermometer and registers the humidity. But it's kind of nautical. They're kind of cool.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I believe these were at 2 different houses, and so.
Did they know each other?
No.
Did they shop online together?
Yeah. No, I guess this was the thing back in the 70s or 80s or whatever that everyone wanted to get this, and I guess this house was a little bit more affluent and they could afford the 3 dial instead of the 2 dial.
It was a 3 for 1. Yeah.
Cool. Like you see this on a ship or
in
an office or something. They're kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so this is my wall of shame item here today. All right, man. Well, hey, listen, guys. This has been very, very fun episode of the DriveBuy REI podcast. This is called the REI Rockstar podcast, featuring Nate with DriveBuy REI. You got a cool story, man. I really appreciate you taking the time out to be a part of this. I wish you the best of luck. And folks, if you want to take advantage of this, it's a cool app. I currently use it myself, and the link below to get to that is going to be in the show notes and description. And then once you get that, just shoot him a quick note, and he'll get you the quick little discount. Any parting words, Nate?
No, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. We're just I think we're all shooting for the freedom. So let all your users know that I answer all my emails. So just make sure you email me if you have questions. We'll get you set up as best we can and support you as best we can. Awesome,
Nate. Thanks so much. Give your kiddos a big hug and go spend some time with them and have a good day. Guys, that's been it for the REI Rockstar podcast with Nate and DriveBuy REI. It's been a lot of fun. Nate, thanks again. Really appreciate it. And Nick's signing off. We'll see you at the top or from the top. Talk to you soon.